And there we are. We are already live. So Zmago and I we're going to prepare on the pull request that is trying to remove this login window. Well, it's not removing the login window, but it will not be shown immediately when you click on Participate Now. Right now, since the branch of Will is on his remote, I'm going to check out his branch and push a copy of the branch to our remote, so we have right permissions. Hit push. It's good if I share my screen, right?
Yep. I will also share mine.
Maybe it's better if you just share your screen. The only thing I'm going to do now is to push the branch. Push origin 332. Closable login view. Apparently there is already a branch name. I'm updating it now. Okay, so that branch is now updated to the branch of Will's remote. Yeah. Maybe I could also rebase it. We have unchanged. We have changes in master. So what we are going to learn now is how to send parameters to the backend from our front end.
You have rebased it? No.
I haven't. That's what I'm doing right now. I can show how I'm rebasing it. There you go. So, so what I just did was we are on this branch. It's up to date with Will's remote, and I'll just quickly rebase the branch on origin master. And we're probably going, yeah, so there will be merge conflicts, but that's not a big deal. So this looks pretty easy. So I think it's only white space. Seems like that, yeah. Yeah, it's just white space. So what I usually do in that case, I just say git checkout master and that particular folder. So we just continue on. Because I know the white space is because of Rubocop, and everything that's in master has Rubocop. Yeah, all the files are according to the latest Rubocop version. So there's nothing to rebase, so I just say git rebase skip. What's happening now? Yeah, that's just the renaming. That's also very easy. Oops, that's the wrong one. So the file spec requests. Spec is authenticated. That one. So I prefer the description authenticated and just logged in. It's nicer, I think. So I'll keep that. That's it. And git rebase continue. Oh, another one, the schema. Okay, in that case, I usually just take the latest schema version. That would be October 29th.
Yep.
So I just say git check out head. Does that actually work? Yeah. Rebase continue. Oh god. Okay, just the schema version. Yeah, I was wondering. So when I was doing the same thing for your branch today, right? The other branch with the materialized database views.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when you run the migrations for the test database, at least on my machine, this here, these nullable columns, they turn to false. If you do it for if you do the migration for the development database, they're gone.
What?
Yeah. It's weird.
It's weird, yeah.
So in that case here, I want the default 0. I'm pretty sure that's intended. So I would check out the red part. So I think master has default 0.
What table was this impression?
Yeah.
No, doesn't have default 0.
Looks okay. Okay, I will push again with forwards. So if you pull down this branch, you have to reset it to the remote branch. Oh, I pushed it to will wide. I want to push it to origin. Okay, so now the branch is up to date. I think you can check it out.
So I just fetch it and then we check out upstream this bench.
Yeah, if your remote is called upstream, that would be correct.
What? Detach? No.
Can you say git remote -v?
Yeah, upstream is my branch.
Yeah, okay, then upstream is the correct one.
Mm-hmm.
You can say git check out 333 closable login view, and then you can also say git reset. Yeah, like this. And then you say git reset.
Yeah.
Upstream / 332 closable login view. There's a typo. Upstream.
Yeah.
And then the index is reset. So when you say git status, the files there are still changes. But you can also say git reset and so on, -hard. So just repeat the last command, -hard. And that will override your files.
Uppercase or no?
Doesn't matter. I just do lowercase, yeah. Now, can you say git status again? There will be some untracked files. Yeah, exactly. So untracked files are not overwritten. If you
Mhm.
really want to, you can even clean this. You can clean untracked files as well. If you're using IntelliJ, you can git ignore the .idea folder.
Yeah. But then it will.
You can check that in. No problem. Just .idea.
How it is.
I think it's just
Yeah.
.idea.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And then you can check in git ignore.
And this one, front-end test acceptance.
Yeah, you can, first of all, you can commit it now. You can just say, okay, I'm using IntelliJ and I don't want to have this folder and ever committed to the git ignore IntelliJ for project settings or whatever.
Yeah, IntelliJ.
It's double L. Or there's something, yeah, I think that's just all right.
Okay. And for this front-end test,
I think that's a different one. You can just clean that. So you can remove that file with git clean -f. The f is for force. And beware that, no, you don't need that. Git -f just cleans everything. You can also clean directories with -df. And even ignored files with -x. But I wouldn't recommend that. So the only thing I do usually is git clean -f or -df. And beware, there are a few things that Git cannot recover if you mess it up. If you, for example, a hard reset, no problem. You still have the ref log.
Yeah.
But the clean is a removal of not indexed files, and Git cannot recover from that. So before you do that, just make sure you know what you're doing. And in that case, it's all right.
Okay.
Now you have a clean working directory again.
So yeah, so we can start then. Okay. So now I spin the servers to check out what actually has been done.
Yeah, so we were creating a couple of front-end tests. So you can run the front-end test with Ember in the front-end folder, Ember test, and I usually say Ember test --serve or server. That will open a particular web server where you can see the Mocker JS test. Oh yeah, and you have to install dependencies.
Yeah.
Yarn install.
If I only yarn, it's do the same.
Just install, yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I have to fix it.
Really?
Someday.
Yarn shouldn't install the dependencies into that folder. Usually, Yarn installs it into a folder node modules in that very same directory. Anyhow. Yeah, and what we have done is we created those tests because we changed the behavior, the expected behavior, of course, not the actual behavior. That would be step 2. And I think we managed to fix one of those tests. So I don't know if you know that, but when users check out the Find Broadcast page, right? So where you can say support broadcast, or you can click next. We track when people click next. So we want to see if people were not interested into a broadcast. And we do that by sending a backend request. And so the backend request will be sent when you click on the next button. So that's unfortunate, because when people are not logged in, or when they're not authenticated, the backend request will fail. And that's the reason why we have this enormous, like this login window that you cannot close. Because we want to prevent people from sending requests, or like we want to avoid to send those requests when they will fail. Right? So the new behavior is now the backend will send the broadcasts that are visible on that page, and only if the user is authenticated, the backend will save neutral impressions. Neutral impressions are impressions with a response neutral. You know the difference between or you know the purpose of this column response, do you?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, the new behavior, and that's the backend is already set up. The only thing to do is in the front end. And the backend just knows if you're authenticated or not. If you're not authenticated, it just doesn't do anything. It will just give you the broadcasts. If you are authenticated, then it will create those impressions for you. Exactly. So these tests are failing, and it's okay that we're expecting those tests to fail. I think there's 6 failures.
Yep.
So how many do I have? 4. I have just 4. Can you refresh the page, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes there are timing issues, I think.
No.
So that looks, oh no, I have 6 as well. I have 6 as well.
Cool. Yep.
It's okay.
Yeah. At least it's consistent. Because it's like
So you can also check out the development version of the front end now. Like just run the application, you can see what's actually going on.
So just Ember server. Am I right? Yeah.
Yep, Ember server, and you have to start the backend, of course.
Yeah, already started.
I'll do the same now on my machine. So I think the first...
No, not ready. Okay. Oh, probably I have to see something.
Oh no. I think I just overwrote the very recent commits of will. Okay. That's not a big deal. Okay, so let's start with the first failing test. So first of all, if you check out the application, how it is,
Yep.
you can click on Find Broadcast, for example. Oh, what's wrong? You're back in this. You back? Probably data migrations. It returned a 500 error.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
migrations are pending. I'm so sorry for Will. Probably, no. I think I overwrote the branch on both remotes now.
Oh, fuck. Duplicate data. FK already exists. What?
Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Everything okay on your machine? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
How
there
is the
was.
C data actually? I never used the C data on my machine. Is okay? Like, do you have something that you can
Yeah, I think
play
there
with?
was.
Yeah.
Or not. I don't know. There are some seats. So
Okay. At
the
least.
broadcast.
Yeah. Cool.
No, actually, I have some error here. Like double index. Probably my database was like in the
Yeah.
some
You just drop the
weird
database
state.
now, and then everything is
Yeah,
alright.
yeah. There was some weird state. I don't know.
But now the backend should be alright.
Yep.
And did you know, since Rails version 5, you can also say bin Rails db seed and bin Rails db create drop and so on.
Oh, you don't need to use rake anymore. Yeah, I know that. But it's a habit. I don't know. It's still like.
I know.
Also, like at work, we work still with 4.29.
Yeah, and for anything you don't have that. It's 5. Yeah. Good that we have that error page now.
Yeah.
That's good.
So if I now click find broadcasts, yeah.
Yeah, and if you now, for example, open your network tab.
Yeah, here
Why
I
are
will
you
get.
actually using the incognito mode? Because of the analytics?
No, actually, I think they are already locked in this window. I think that the browser remembered my logins.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I click, I will get a pop-up.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And now, if you, for example, inspect the network requests and on the network, on the console below, if you click on network, for example, you can click on next, and then you will see that there will be requests sent to the backend. Yeah, there you go. And it's for one. Why? Can you open the term?
Yeah, this is unauthorized.
Yeah, right. Of course, because you're on the branch, and we already removed the login window from opening up immediately, and we also want to get rid of those requests now. They're not necessary anymore.
Cool. So that's on the front end. We know we have some state that say us we are logged in or not.
Exactly. So in Ember, the state that is shared across the entire application, that's a service, right? So it's a special name. And there's the session service, and that session service knows whether you're authenticated or not. And you can basically pass that into anything, any component you want. It can be a controller, can be a route, can be a template. So maybe we can start with the first thing that Will actually did. He injected that service into the decision card. The decision card is that.
But this service is already done. Like this is only some store initialized.
Yeah, that's the store, but the session service comes from a plugin, and that plugin is called Ember Simple Auth. If you want, you can, for example, check out the controller for just maybe, I don't know, index maybe, or invoice for sure. Invoice will have it. This one, yeah.
This one. Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's how you inject this session service into the component, and you can basically copy paste that one.
The entire one.
No, not the entire one. This line exactly is that will add a property.
Will not throw an error. This one. This error here.
Yeah, just that line. The comma is not necessary. You can remove that as well. And then you can go into the component that is responsible for the support button, and that is called decision card, I think. Yes, upwards. Yeah, almost.
Yes.
There you go.
So I can inject here like this session Ember and.
Yeah, exactly. So the test that Will actually already fixed and the commits which are with a commit that I accidentally overwrote said that this component should first check if the user is logged in, and then send that response, and otherwise you just don't do nothing.
So in this action, we should check if the session exists.
Yeah. But first of all, let's just check what the test is about. Like, what is the test actually testing? And you find that in folder tests, exactly. It's a integration, components, decision card.
Okay.
And there you can see when it's, yeah, there was a typo on line 29. It's actually unauthenticated. So you can say unauthenticated, yeah. When you click on the support button, it should call the login action. And this is how you test callbacks. I told you last time you cannot only pass in properties or state into a component, you can also pass in a callback. And this is how you would test a callback. So you have on line 32 and line 33 a broadcast, which is just an object, and the login action, which is a callback. And then on line 36, this is the line where you actually, this is how it looks like in the template. You have this, the component decision card, and then you pass in broadcast, and then you pass in this callback, which is called, in our case, login action. And then you just click, like you simulate a click, and you are expecting the login action to be called, because in line 34, you see a call to done. And that comes, that's from a Mocha, this testing framework. And it comes from line 31, sorry. That's the parameter that you pass into the test case.
Yep.
Exactly, so that's also a callback. And the test case will wait until this callback is called. It will wait for 2 seconds. If the callback is not called, it will fail. And that's what's actually going on right now. If you check the tests, the failing tests.
Yep. Oh no. Now here I'm on the server. I have to open a new shell.
It's on the browser. You can see the failing test on the browser. Port number, yeah, that's the one. And if you scroll down, you'll see the decision card tests. No, that's the acceptance test.
But
this one. You can see timeout of 200 milliseconds exceeded, so the done callback wasn't called.
Okay.
So the test is expecting a login action, right? So the login action will open up this window, the login window, and that's currently not doing it. And you can pass it into this component. And if you're not authenticated, this login action should be called. That's all we need to do in order to make this test pass.
So yeah. So how we check for the session?
So in order to get the session, you can say this.get session and the string session. So then you have the session service in your hand, let's say. And you can call a method on that or a property on that session service, which is called isAuthenticated. Lowercase is, capital case authenticated, all together. Yeah, and it's similar to this get notation. So you get an object, and in Ember you always have to say get. So isAuthenticated is actually a string. No, yeah, almost. So you say this get session.
Yeah.
Get is authenticated.
Not get.
Yeah, and there's a shorthand to this. You can even say this get session dot in that string.
The object directly, like.
Yeah, like that, exactly.
It's nice.
And this will be either true or false. So we can use that in order to call our callback. So when you're authenticated, it should do exactly this. Like everything should behave the same. Yeah, but if you're not authenticated, it should call the login action. And this login action is passed as a property. So you can say this get login action, and then parentheses in order to call it. And that should be the else block, because you only want to call the login action when you're not authenticated.
Yeah, but you're not authenticated if you just put an if.
No, you can just say else.
But why? You already check if it's authenticated, and if it's not, it's fault to this action one.
Yeah, but in this case, right now, it will be called also when it is authenticated is true, because you just the if clause ends on line 15.
Yeah.
And line 16 will be executed if it's false or if it's true, no matter what.
Ah, yeah, it's not to return nothing. Yeah. And how to pass parameters in this, the properties in this login action?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay.
You can just you have that will give you the callback. In order to call that callback, you have to put in parentheses. Exactly. Just make sure that the property is actually called login action. I think in the test case, the variable was called login action, but the parameter is actually called login. Yeah. If you see on line 36,
the login.
This is the name of the property in the component.
So it's just a login.
Yeah. There we go.
Cool.
If you save it, the test server will recompile and.
Yeah, I have to run it because I close it. And test. No, serve.
Is it already running?
No, it's not running. It's, I closed it before.
I see. Yeah, you can just leave it open. Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah. And
as far as I can remember, when Will did this, he did exactly the same thing like you. He noticed that some test cases are failing because what was the issue?
The running the server beside, because sometimes if I'm running like a server, then it's failing because it's listened to the same port. But probably this is not the case because it's another port generated for the Ember test servers.
Yeah, usually that should be no problem. Like when you closed the other server, the port is free again. That should be no big deal. So, the test server is not running, right? So it's currently building, right? You said you closed it before, then the port is free and available again, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but we'll have another problem. I think some of the test cases are not passing in the login action. And for some strange reason, that was an issue. But I can't quite remember. Let's see. And if you want to change the driver, just tell me, right?
Okay. So
you can also grab for the component test. If you click on the header, then the test you see will be limited to the test below that header. Exactly. Now if you can check the URL, you see grep equals blah 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 blah, and then you only see the acceptance test. If you remove that, you will see the entire test suite again.
Oh, nice. This is already built in the With the Ember, it comes with the Ember. This test.
I think Ember default is QUnit, and I like Ember Mocha. And what you just see is Ember Mocha. But I think Ember QUnit has a similar server. It's just another way of the syntax is different. QUnit is more the unit test style, and Ember Mocha is more like RSpec.
Yeah, now it looks like it's passing.
No, there was a component test which was failing. That one.
This one.
Decision card.
This
yeah.
get is not a function.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, of course. that's the thing. So if you click, can you first click on that header in the test server? So we only see that, yeah, just like that. This get is the you're accessing the login, whatever. It's expecting it to be a callback. In the test case, we are in this test not passing in the login action, so it's nil, and they try to call nil. Right.
So this is the tests that are failing.
Yeah, so there's one way to solve it. Yeah, exactly. You can either do this, just change the test case. So this test case is actually passing. Right? So the login action is passing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeps the response to the broadcast on chain. That one is not passing. I would probably just change that test case and give it a callback.
So
you can basically copy paste the code from the other test case. You just say, so line number 33 until line number 35. This is how you create a callback, and you can then just pass in that callback into the component.
Into this one, broadcast.
Yeah, so there are two test cases here. It's one test case from line number 31 to line number 38. And the other one's exactly that one. And on line number 43, you can see, no, line number 42, we pass only the broadcast into this component and no login action. So login action there will be nil. And that is exactly what we want to do. But unfortunately, login action is now nil because we defined it in the other test case. Exactly. And you don't even have to call done, because done, there is no done. If you see in line number 40, we're not
logged in. Yeah.
Yeah, just make an empty function. Yeah, that's enough. That should do it. There we go. Success. You can commit that. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Oh, we don't need a schema.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you know what you're doing, it's straightforward. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not used to this testing in the front end.
Yeah. So testing callbacks is very similar in Ember and React, for example. I am in another application. I'm using React, and they're doing exactly the same. They're using the same pattern. Like they have this done callback, and you expecting the test to call this done callback. Yeah. Okay, next one.
Fix. No, it is fix.
Yeah. You changed the decision card component and
Session.
yeah, and you added the session to the decision card component exactly, and made those tests pass. Fixed tests. Great. Awesome. Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Okay, what's remaining? Yeah, you can, if you remove the pattern from the URL of your test server, you see the other tests. It doesn't matter. So, 2 failing acceptance tests.
And there was 3, I think. Oh no. No, that was no 2.
Yeah, just 2 apparently.
Cool.
So you can click on acceptance, find broadcast, close login window in order to limit the test to that. So what's happening here?
And it's
Oh
still
yeah,
not a function, the same
so
like it was before.
What we already tested is that it doesn't show the login dialog anymore when you visit the route find broadcasts.
Yeah.
That's done. But what we want to do is now, as soon as people click on support, then you have to log in. Right? And that's not happening because, yeah, and it makes perfect sense. We get this get is not a function. Do you have any idea why we get this error now?
Probably because we don't have a login
we
component.
Didn't pass the login.
Yeah.
We didn't pass the login action into the component. Exactly. We have to do that.
So like is there some like useful log like where this file is located?
No.
No.
The only useful error message I think is the very first line.
The error.
And sometimes I would say debugging those tests is more difficult than debugging RSpec tests, for example.
Yeah, because probably just bundle one in one file or what it has done here.
Yeah, exactly. And
but
I make heavy use of debug
map
statements.
of some like source map. It generates a source map.
That's a good question. I haven't tried it, so probably, yeah. I don't know. I would expect it to create a source map, but I'm not quite sure. I would have to Google that. I didn't use source maps so far, so that's what I can say.
So this is probably somewhere in the find broadcast.
Oh yeah, so the acceptance test, that's in order just to find the file is very easy. You go to tests, acceptance, and it will show the error or the description in the server corresponds to the directory in the test. So there's a folder acceptance, find broadcasts, close login window. Yeah, exactly.
We have the line? No.
No, that would be too good, huh?
Yeah. click
Yeah,
on.
opens the login dialog. It's not doing it.
Click on the support button option.
So this is now not a component test anymore. This is an acceptance test.
Yep.
An acceptance test in Ember means we are indeed sending fake backend requests. Like it's rendering the entire page, not only a component. It's rendering the entire page, and we don't. The good point here is we don't have to pass in actions and properties manually. But the downside is we have to mock somehow the backend requests, right?
Yep.
So what we can see is, okay, you visit Find Broadcast on line 45, and you click on a button. Then there's some asynchronous waiting behavior. That's this and then blah, blah, blah. You expect the login window to open, and we're expecting a particular piece of text.
Yeah.
And this is the message. A message is somewhere, I think it's defined somewhere above. Yeah, to keep access to your data. That's the thing.
So, but actually, this test is correct, like I presume.
I think it's not passing. I think it's failing right now. Can you double check?
Yeah, it's failing, but it should fail. Or
yeah, it should fail.
It should fail. So it's working fine.
Yeah.
So we have to bind an action that will trigger this.
Yes.
Login on this button here.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think we'll find it in the template.
Let's templates. Find broadcasts. I should copy this one.
Yeah, I think you're unlucky because we have more components here. I'm already checking your code. Unless model broadcast, blah, blah, blah. Broadcast search.
Yeah.
Broadcast navigation. There we go. So line number 30. Each model broadcast has broadcast decision card, broadcast, respond action, action respond, and we are still missing the login action. And apparently there's inconsistent naming here. We have the respond action called respond action, and now the login action is just called login.
Yeah.
Do you think that's an issue? You know what I mean?
No, I don't follow you.
So respond action is already a callback. This is the component decision card that we just we checked the test case for that component. Exactly. And in line number 11, you see that this callback for respond is called respond action.
Yeah.
And on line number 16, we see that the callback is just called login.
So login action probably will be.
Yeah, but then you also have don't forget to change that in the component test as well.
Yeah. Decision card test. This will login.
Yeah.
It's some shortcut with that or no?
No.
Like in ES6 that you just okay.
And line number 36.
Yeah. So like this, and we have to pass it here as a string. Am I right?
Not quite. So in Ember, controllers and routes have so-called actions. And in order to pass in this action from the controller or the route, you have this syntax. that you can see similar to the respond action. So you have parenthesis, action, and then the name of the action.
Like this.
It doesn't really matter. There's a typo. You said acton.
Oh, yeah.
And we again have inconsistent naming. Acton.
Where?
There. Stop. No, no. Right. Right. No. No.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's E.
No, 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 no. It's left.
Ah, yeah, yeah. I see that.
No. Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And there's again inconsistent naming. So apparently on the controller side, the actions called will just respond, and you called it login action. So I really don't care how you do it. You can change both or change this one. Up to you.
So let me put it this one. This decision card. No, sorry. This one is the this is the controller part.
This is the component part.
The component part. So
you have find broadcast controller. It's already there.
Yeah.
And then you have respond. Line number 33.
43 respond to
And similar, you would just copy or just add another action that will call the login action. Yeah, exactly. So it really, for me, it doesn't really matter how we call it. Just either change response to respond action, and you can keep login action, or change login action to login. I haven't found a good naming for these kind of actions so far. I apologize deeply for that, but
no, it's not problem.
Naming is
yeah, it's the hardest thing. So in this action we should inject this service.
It's already injected.
Ah, it's already injected. So what we are passing there? Nothing.
Yeah, the way of calling or let the login window appear, that's the tricky part. The first thing I want to do, I would like you to ask to do is add 1 comma, line 38.
48.
A comma.
Yeah.
After the curly brace.
Yeah.
And maybe just type in console log. Just do something and just make sure that you actually see something. I'm here. Yeah, great. It's enough for now.
Yeah, but now we have to change this naming. No, we already have it. To just login.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we should see at least a different error message. We should not see undefined is not a function. We should see something else. Yeah, we expected empty string to contain to keep access to your data, and that makes perfect sense, right? So there are now 2 more test cases. Apparently, sometimes if something goes really wrong, Mocha is not able to recover. So the other 2 test cases, which were also failing, were kind of suppressed. And now you see the other test cases, which are failing as well.
Yep.
And those are not expecting the login window to appear. These tests are clicking on the next button, and they expect that there will be no backend requests. Or they're expecting this parameter mark as seen equals true. So the behavior here is, if you send mark as seen to the backend will create neutral impressions for you if you're authenticated.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. So I would fix that test first because it's easier. We just have to add a query parameter to the backend.
Yeah, to the mock. So. Oh, this is the one, yeah?
Exactly. If you scroll down, you see it's expecting parameter mark is seen to be true. This is the way how you, so we have two test cases each, one for unauthenticated user, one for authenticated user. And if you are authenticated, you want the front end now.
Yeah, just checking. Yeah, this context here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, but now it's failing because we don't have an authenticated user.
We do, but the query only captures those requests that have this parameter mark as seen. And since we're not sending that parameter, this mock is not called. If you remove that line,
this one, yeah,
it will pass. So the test, so yeah, you can just double check that the test is actually doing something. Mm-hmm. That's weird. Okay, I would expect this test case now to succeed. Maybe can you remove the
whole block or
the curly braces? No. The broadcast mock you need that. Just remove the curly braces. Yeah. And if that's still failing, then the test setup is somehow broken. Okay, the test setup is broken. Okay, let me see. You pushed the commit, right?
Yeah.
So I can say git pull. Actually, this is a good place to change the driver, don't you? Don't you think?
Yeah, I think yeah. Yeah, it is up.
Okay. So is everything up to date? Full origin. I'll share my screen. There you go. You can see something?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So the unfortunately, you cannot see my test server right now. You can only see me. You can only see my editor. In the background, I'm just pulling down the latest commit, and I can double check it worked by just saying git log, and it's not there. I'm expecting your commit here.
Yep.
You pushed it to upstream, did you?
Yeah, it is. If I check it on GitHub, and it's there.
Okay.
On this bench, closable. No, yeah, quit with 2.
Hey, what's wrong? There we go. Okay, here's your commit. Cool. Okay, so in the background, I will say Ember. I can actually do this also here. Front-end Ember test server. It will take a while until the server is up. And let's see. So acceptance. Close login window. What are we doing here? So we are mocking a query. A query always means it's corresponding to, you know the methods of Ember data already, Zmago?
2 of Ember?
Ember data.
No.
So Ember data is the Ember data is responsible for sending requests to the backend, and it gives you some helper methods. And the helper methods are always called, like you get the store, which is also as a service, and you can inject the store. And I think on route and on controller, it's by default injected. So you just say this gets store, and you have the store, and then you can, for example, say peek all. That would send no backend requests. It will just check the existing. Okay. Apparently my front end is up running. Yes, it is. Okay. So peek all is it's checking the records that are already on the client without sending a backend request. It's necessary in order to check to show this red the counter. So how often you already clicked support. And this one here is more interesting. It says find paged broadcast. So it's sending I think a find all, and it's sending params, and the params have pagination params. So it's sending something like page 3, and the page should have 6 records. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would so my suggestion, or I suspect that the test set is wrong, because it shouldn't be mock query, but mock find all. I just assume that find page internally is requesting find all. So I give another example where this is a little bit more obvious. This is also find paged. Which one here? Okay, this is finding just one record, right? One broadcast. Okay, apparently we are never using find all. Ah, there, here, down below. There you can see find all. So we are getting all the mediums, that is TV, radio, online, and all the TV and radio stations here. I think it's because we have this drop-down menu where we can select different TV and radio stations. So I suspect that the test is failing because we are mocking query and not find all. The difference between mock query is that with find query, do we have another example? Oh, not controllers, routes. Okay. Oh. Yeah. This one, for example. So here we are using query record. So if you have this word record, you're always expecting just one record. And query means, for example, we are not, we're getting the summarized statistics. Do you know there's the numbers on our landing page?
Mm-hmm.
This corresponds to
like how much users are logged in.
Exactly, and that's just one row in one table, and it doesn't have an ID.
Yeah.
And if we would say find record, it will call summarize statistics /1. We would have to pass into an ID, and we don't have that.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's fix the test setup. Forecast, close login window. So I'm changing mock query now with mock find all. And same here. Have mock query? No.
So, yeah, interesting.
Okay, let's see how that works. Oh yeah, and we want to remove that line here. Okay.
So like for every this Ember built-in method like find query, find all.
Yeah, this comes from a plugin called Ember Data Factory Guy. It's similar to Factory Girl or Factory Guy now.
Now it's
called Factory Bot.
Factory Bot, yeah.
It's similar to that. So we don't want to run. So we don't want to send backend requests out. And Ember Data Factory Guy is mocking those requests and returning a predefined result set. And you always have to mock the right methods in order to yeah. Do the right thing. So we said action login, right? Did we?
Yeah.
Find forecast. Login. Yeah. Sure. Anything else? All right.
So it's passing.
For some strange reason, it's not passing yet. Login action login. Yeah, I don't have your.
Yeah, probably this one. In the description card test, they're missing like login action login
Yeah.
in the commit.
But I think the only thing that was missing was in the template of find broadcasts. Like here, we have the login action login.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's it. And then
in the decision card, we have this get login action.
And so you're just checking if you're authenticated, and then you call login.
Action.
Login action. Right. And we have to change the tests.
Yep.
Login. Here we go. Okay. Okay, I have to. I think I have to kill Ember. It's running within my editor Vim,
Mm-hmm.
and I cannot kill it right now. I will close my editor once more. Yeah. In the meantime, it just takes a while. In the meantime, I will show you how to send query parameters. So you can see the query parameters in the controller. For example, if you check out Find Broadcast, you have query parameters already there. Here, this is how you declare the query parameters. It's very easy. So similar to CSS classes or tag name, there's a well-known property called query params on controllers.
Mm-hmm.
And those, if you set those properties, it will send those properties in the request to the backend. Does that make sense?
So, like only this, I have to define query parameters, and when I get a request, what will be automatically filled with this? I don't know.
Exactly. So we always want, on this route, we always want to send the parameter mark as seen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So only thing I have to do is say mark as seen, and then say mark as seen true.
This is the default parameter.
Yes, exactly. So whenever Ember controller is initialized, it will take all the properties will be initialized with undefined, unless you give it a particular default variable, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of query parameters here. So, for example, it's the order is by default random. The page is by default the first page, and you have 6 records per page by default. So something is wrong with Ember. The Ember's test server is not. It is crashing. I don't know why. mock find all has already been declared. Oh, okay. It was already there. Yeah, I was just stupid. Mock find all is already there. Yeah. Maybe I'll just stop sharing my screen and show you the test server instead now. Ember is so slow in my machine.
Yeah, on mine too. Like it's like take a while to boot up, and then also sometimes like freeze my editor.
Anyhow, I can actually show how this looks like now if I click on Find Broadcasts. The other Ember service has already also crashed. How unfortunate. Sorry for the long delay.
No problem. I'm just thinking about these parameters and like.
Yeah, if you Google, for example, Ember query params.
Like you have to define it in an array, and then you have to specify like that it's nil or it's not. You don't need to specify it in the object.
Yeah, you specify once the name of the query parameter like this,
Yep.
and then you specify the value for it.
But you have to specify the value. It's not by default like set for you when you do query params.
That's a good question.
You have to like initialize as null. Probably you have, yeah, because it's
probably you have, and you have to distinguish between the query params that you can see in the route. So there are also query parameters that are in here if you visit the Ember frontend, and there are query parameters sent to the backend, and those are not always the same, right? So here, right, you can see. Yeah, you can see data response. What? Oh yeah, sure, because we are on invoice. So you only see those broadcasts that you're supported. Come on. Yeah, now my backend has some problems. Okay, but the test should be fine. Okay, still not sending the right thing. Actually, I think mock query is quite all right because the other test case also had mock query, and it was all fine. So I think that mock query is actually correct. It should make a difference. Oh yeah, in the meantime, I'll show you where those the mock methods are coming from. So this is the plugin. This is quite a large plugin. I recently contributed a lot with this guy here because for another issue, it was because of fast boot compatibility. I don't know if you showed you this.
Yeah, show me last time.
And yeah, those mock query methods are here. So you have mock query, mock find record, mock find all, mock reload, mock query record, and they all correspond to the metadata methods. And now I can see that. Oh no, I can see the console log out. I am here in my terminal. So apparently this action is kind of clicked.
Like don't find the programs, which is probably sent.
Create db migrate. Finally, okay. So also the application server is not running, not only the tests, but also the application server. So what we should see is that when I click, broadcast has already been taken. Mark broadcast as seen. What? Okay, I think I discovered an error in the backend. Too bad. There's so many errors right now. So I just show you this one, so you can see now. Can you see something?
Yeah, bus validity.
Yeah, so
validation
what I see when I just click on find broadcasts, unprocessable entity, validation failed, broadcast has already been taken. So apparently the backend is not trying to save an impression, but the user has already voted on that impression, on that broadcast, sorry. And you're only allowed to create an impression. So this one user
per one broadcast
has one vote for one broadcast. And now the back is trying to create a second vote. That's not what we want. So I would have to change the backend and create some tests in order to avoid that. I would say that's not what we're doing now. I think I will take care of that. But the point here is we cannot test the entire stack now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just thinking like
Yeah.
Why it's like, yeah, we have an authenticate user, yeah. So because of that, yeah.
Oh, that's actually a good point. I could log out and then click on Find Broadcast, and we should see at least debug the debug statement now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there we go. At least something.
So, but it's cool that it's triggered like multiple times, or it's for every card.
Yeah, it's for every card. So you can click on it, and it will always call the past callback. But that's intended.
Cool.
So one thing we have, so what we have to do now is to show this login screen when we click on support, and we also want we want to remove the code that is responsible to send requests to the backend when we click on next. So just watch out. When I click on next, you see those requests here, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want that. And I think that we can do that now in the pair programming. What do you think?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but the tests will still fail. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm currently not quite sure what's the reason why it's not passing, even if we remove that this line here. Oh no, you cannot see that. I'm so sorry.
For this Marcus too.
Yeah, magazine.
Yeah,
I just
magazine,
removed. I just removed that line, and still the test is not passing, but it should. Expected 0 to equal 1. Yeah, probably I messed it up somehow. I will take care of that later. I would say let's just try to fix that test case here. I think we can at least fix that test case here. So here we can see expected 12 to equal 0. So when we click on the next button, it's apparently sending 12 backend requests, and we can definitely make that test pass, I would say. Right?
Yep.
So back to the editor. It's really annoying when you have to constantly switch between the editor and your browser. All right, so let's see. We have the app, and that's in the navigation component. So we go to Find Broadcast, find navigation, and actions back, actions next. Okay, maybe it's in the
templates.
Broadcasts. Action. Out. There we go. So browse. So this action is called whenever the user clicks on the pagination buttons, that is next or back. So these two lines, it's unnecessary because it was just it's just waiting for the other requests to finish. Here we say we get all the broadcasts and that are currently on the client side, loaded on the client side. So all the broadcasts that the user has seen so far. So when you click next, 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 you get 6 more broadcasts every time. And these are the broadcasts that are loaded on the client side. And here we are setting the response to neutral, like this is the default response. And then we say impression save. And this impression save
will trigger the action.
Exactly. And all we have to do really is to
next if
no, we can just remove it.
But and when you are logged in, how it will be then?
Yeah, so the backend immediately knows if you're logged in or not. So all the logic to create those impressions is handled on the backend side.
Cool.
And that's the reason why we get the error on the backend.
Yes.
Right? It's currently trying to
do double work.
Yeah, exactly. To create a second vote. And that's another error. So all we have to do now is to remove that. And there we go. Ta-da! Sends no request to the backend. You see it?
Yeah.
Awesome. And I will go now and make a commit, create a commit. Oh. You see my face, not my editor. Okay. So git add -p. Do you know already git add -p?
No.
I use it very often.
-p.
Yeah, that's patch. So you can cycle through the no. So you can cycle through the yes, we don't want this. Or actually, yes, we want this. So we removed the lines and we added this login action. Yeah. No. Okay. So this is what we were going to commit. So I didn't add everything to the commit. I just added a couple of lines that we changed. So we have login action. That's quite all right. We have the login action defined on the controller, and we removed the relevant part that was creating impressions. And in the template, we are passing in the login action here from the controller. Looks quite all right. Oops. Okay. I'm committing it. I'd say, what did we do? Create login action and find broadcast controller. Or what else did we do? Oh, and we removed or just say don't send backend requests on pagination. How about that?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Good. Push that. Actually, honestly, I think it's not much what we can do right now during the pair programming, because I think I have to. What's wrong?
Yeah.
The test setup of the other two test cases is apparently wrong. I have to look into that. The backend has one error because it's creating votes when it shouldn't. or it's instead of changing a vote, it's basically creating a new vote.
Yep.
And but I can show you one more thing.
Yeah, but
Doing this network, I mean.
probably this is because of the for this issue that you fixed right now that makes 2 votes, 2 impressions.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Since I added the query params, the backend now is
good probably.
Yeah, it's actually exactly. So that was what I wanted to show you. So why does the backend actually create votes? So if I am logged in, oh no, just let's, yeah. So see those network requests, and there is find broadcast page 2, and yet there is no query param called mark as seen. Oh no, that's the backend request. Right. Oh, there we go. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And now the backend knows, okay, I have to create votes if the user is authenticated. And if the user is not authenticated, like now, it's just doing nothing.
Yeah, so we still have an error on the backend, yeah.
Yeah. And actually, since we are already sending this query param to the backend, I would actually expect at least this test case here to succeed. And it's not passing. Creates a positive impression. Yeah, those 2 test cases should be now passing, and they are not because of the test setup. And this one here is checking the login dialog. We can we can do that also. That's not a big deal. So the logic where how we can open this login window is under routes, and it's in the application route. You have this method here, login, and with all those configuration options. So you're specifying. So this is all the configuration of this auth0 lock. We can specify where we want to redirect the user after a successful login. You can add translations for the descriptions, like the header and the buttons and so on. It's all in here. So auth0 log, it's in our translations, and so people who have the browser set in German will see something like other translations and so on. And we have changed the color of the auth0 log and so on and so on. That's all in the auth0 documentation. And the only thing we have to do is to call this login action. So let's Google for Amber call route action from controller. Sending action from current controller to current route.
It's an opposite.
No, we actually want to do the same thing. So that the method is defined in the route, but we want to call the action from the controller.
Yeah.
It's from 2014, probably outdated. I think it's just send action. Here. Send data to, oh no, that's a component. Send data. No, that's also in here. Yeah, that's the one. So the controller is just saying this send and the name of the action in the route, which would be login in our case, and if any parameters.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just copy that. We go into our find broadcast controller. There. And get it here. It's saying login, and we have no parameters.
But this is automatic. You will find out login action.
Yeah. So this
And-
send login sends like it bubble. The action will bubble up to the route.
Yeah. Oh God, it's crazy.
It looks a little bit crazy, but it's not that crazy.
Yeah, but how is the hierarchy? I don't know. Like where it start watching. Like,
Yeah. So the hierarchy is route, controller,
okay,
and then
no.
component.
Okay, cool.
So let's say the route is responsible for the communication with the backend. It's sending and requesting data.
Mm-hmm.
And the controller is for any kind of shared state on the page, which is not connected to a component. A component is usually something visible.
Yeah, yeah.
And the controller is just shared state across the entire page. The controller doesn't have a visual appearance.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
like
it's
a
responsible
scope
for...
in Angular or something like that.
Hmm?
In Angular that you have like, yeah, also you have the controllers and how it's called, scope, or I don't know how it's the name of the object that binds everything together.
As far as I know, the Ember guys once wanted to merge controllers and routes, and they didn't at some point. But the difference between controller and route is not very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see what how this looks now. So I'm not sure at all if it's working as expected. So I expect, since I'm not logged in, if I click on support, I'm expecting the login window to appear, and nothing happens. Maximum call stack size exceeded.
Yay. Nice.
Okay, so apparently it's not sending the action to the route.
Yeah. Or
It's like sending the action to
back.
itself. Yeah, right. Because the action on the controller has the same name. Oh, yeah. Sure. So here, the login action has the same name.
Yeah. Because of this, it's something a bit crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's just call it login action then.
Yeah, but it's still, yeah, we have to fix then this call to action.
I think this should be it. Yeah. I think this should be it. Yay! Awesome.
Nice.
And I can also remove I can close the login window again and just continue on browsing. Awesome. And our tests. Intercepted get. Oh yeah, right. It's trying to access the auth0 service now, but there was no handler defined. Like it's sending a request out.
But yeah, you have to. You said, I think, that you have some mocks for this OAuth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could. What we could do is yeah. So Ember Data Factory Guy, the most recent release of Ember Data Factory Guy, has arbitrary mocks. And arbitrary mocks means something like here. This one here. You just say mock, URL,
nice.
and then the payload that will be sent
and they
back.
will like automatically every URL mock it when you call from wherever.
Yeah.
Oh, like Puffing Billy.
Yeah, pretty much. So we are unauthenticated. We visit. Yeah, click on support button, open the login dialog. So here we click on support. Maybe we should say before each and function. Call before each? Yeah, it is called before each. There we mock this URL down here. I think there are more requests than just this to be mocked. Response payload is just nothing. All right. So, but now it's still expecting this message to be visible. And it will never be visible, not at all. Anyhow. Yeah, I just refreshed the wrong browser. Mock is undefined. Yeah, come on. Mock. Oh. Ah, interesting.
Yeah. But no, it's us passing. Because of the text. Yeah.
Okay. So now, I mean, it's doing the right thing, but yeah, I don't think we can actually test it. Like,
yeah.
No, I think there's no way. You know you know what the problem is?
Like for the this library.
Yeah,
for the
it's like the browser doesn't know that it is currently in testing environment.
Yeah.
And it's just showing the auth0 log even in this testing environment, and that's definitely not what we want. Yeah, I think we can. I think I just remove that test case.
Yeah, probably.
It's just not possible to test it.
Yeah. Or I don't know.
I'm going to remove that test case.
Only think it's possible to test that like this action it's called from the controller, something like that. Like
yeah, probably can do that.
The login action is has been called or something. And then like mark it as done or something.
I mean, what we could do is that if there would be a way how to suppress this zero log to pop up, we could just expect the mock to be called. That we just like stopped out.
Yeah.
That would be enough, but I don't think there's any way to tell the auth0 log you're currently in testing environment, just do nothing.
Yeah, I also don't know.
And so I think the best thing to do right now is just to remove the test case and do it like to test it manually.
Cool.
Okay, but at least I mean it's doing the right thing now.
Yeah, something.
So what I'm going to do is I will check the backend. I'll try to fix it, and I'll check the test setup of the front end.
Yep.
And I remove the test case, and that will be it. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'll call it a day then.
Okay.
I hope. Did you? Was it helpful?
Yeah, actually, it was very helpful.
Really, I felt quite tired during the pair programming. I have to admit, and I was a little bit unhappy that so many things didn't work as I was expecting them.
Yeah, but it's always like you can't predict.
Yeah.
With this stuff. Like.
Also, what's really annoying, there's constant switching from browser into your editor, and I have to manually stop the screen sharing in Google Hangouts.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like.
I think what I can do.
Like I can run probably this Ember test from the console.
Yeah. What I can do next time, I think I can disable this the screen on my laptop, and then I can tell Hangout to just share the entire all the screens. Right? Because I'm on Linux and I'm using IS3. That is a tiling window manager. And on Hangouts, you can either tell it to share everything, and if you have two screens, the font size is too small for anybody to see anything. But if you just share one window, then you only share one window, like either the editor or the browser, not both.
Yeah.
I think I can disable my laptop screen and have everything on my second screen. And that should be large enough, right?
Yep.
For regarding the font size.
This will work.
I will do that next time.
Good. Cool.
Zmago.
Okay.
I really hope that you learned something, and even if not everything worked out as expected.
No, it's nice December like stuff, but I have to dig in like to learn it. I already have 2 courses on front-end masters to Ember, but it's like 16 hours of content, and wow.
Wow. So I think all you need to know is you find this on the Ember guides. For me, the Ember guides are sometimes not comprehensive enough. But if you search a little bit and if you don't give up, like sometimes the documentation is just too small.
Yeah.
You don't find a lot. Sometimes just the happy path, and it's not really
overwhelming. Like in the tree, it's like crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't understand nothing. Like when I start to reading to the documentation, I was like, what the fuck?
Okay.
Like 1,000 methods, 1,000 models, and how I can start it,
Yeah. Sometimes it helps if you just set up the Hello World Ember app. If you go through the guides chronologically, it will tell you will set up a Hello World Ember app, and that could help you maybe if you just do that. Because then you can maybe play around a little bit. You have a minimal Ember application without any backend. Maybe that's an advice. I don't know.
To see the structure, because
to see the structure exactly.
Like it's very different how is it react, like what I am doing right now. So
yeah. Okay. At least you're happy. If you're happy, I'm happy too.
Okay. So see you next week.
Yeah. Exactly. See you next week.
Okay.
Have a nice weekend.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.